Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 5 Sobriety and Everything Else. My name is Eric Andrew. I am your friendly neighborhood host, coming to you taped from my own studios, which actually happen to be my dining room. But it works out perfect for me, so we're going to go with it. Today, I'm not going to give you my normal spiel about how you can get a free consultation, blah, 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 because I'm going to be talking to you about something special that's going to be coming up. And I'm going to mention it now, and then I'll talk a little bit more about it towards the end of the episode, so you're going to want to stay tuned. But basically, the nuts and bolts of this are I am going to host and get to know coaching session, which will happen August 10th. It's Saturday, August 10th. It'll be from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. And I will be hosting a session where I will talk about life coaching, recovery coaching, also mindfulness, and how that plays a role in how we coach. What is coaching about? Could coaching actually help you in your life's journey, whether you are in recovery or whether you are in a life situation and some things have come up and have kind of caused you to be, for lack of a better word, stuck. This will be an opportunity for you to see what it's all about. Also, there is a special discount that will come about if you come to that session. And I will go into the details of this a little bit later. But I kind of want to jump right into our episode today, because today I want to talk about the idea of activity, movement, the idea of tempo. How does tempo play a role, and how do the tools in recovery or in life in general play a role in making sure our tempo stays consistent? So I want to start off talking about how this all came about for me. So when I got into recovery, it wasn't really doing much of anything. I mean, I went to the gym every now and again, kind of hiked every now and again. That was pretty much it. If I could find my way with my legs to a bar stool, that was pretty much all I needed to do physically as far as I was concerned. There was no consistency in anything. There was no consistency in how I worked out. In fact, I would go to the gym, and the way that I handled it was, and tell me how many of you have experienced this. You go to the gym and you kind of say, oh, well, I went to the gym today. I feel good. Let me go stop and pick up a 6-pack, or let me go and get a bottle of wine, or a bottle of something, right? How many of us did that? Come on, be honest. I'm sure a lot of you did that. And that was kind of where I would put it. And in my head, I was justifying it in terms of, well, I went to the gym, so whatever I take in today will just kind of keep everything at zero. So meaning in my head, I'll have the same weight, I'll have the same tone, I'll have the same everything, because nothing negated anything. You know, I went to the gym, got so far, but then I drank, and that kind of kept me even. And this is how my stupid brain would work. So I get into recovery, and what happens in recovery? Well, I start to want to be more active because I have energy and I have time, right? I mean, I'm not spending all this time sitting at a bar drinking or sitting in my house drinking. And so I'm looking for things to fill up that time. So the first thing that happened was I wanted to get back, excuse me, I wanted to get back into, you know what, let me take a step back. It happened by accident. So maybe I should start there. It happened by accident. I'm talking about activity. What did I have? About a year and a half in. So I kind of look at recovery in terms of, you know, if we're going to talk just about recovery, I look at that first year as being a year where it's just about trying to not drink. And it's, for the most part, everything you can do to not drink. So if you've already been active, then you might be continuing that. But other than that, you're not going to add anything new to where you're at for that year. You're certainly not going to go back to anything right away. You're still trying to figure it out. Like, can I manage through this? Can I manage through the first? Can I get through a birthday party without drinking? Can I get through the holidays without drinking? And that's really your goal. So it kind of happened pretty much that way for me. But also another thing came into play here, and that was that little situation we had about 4 years ago called COVID. And COVID tended to put everybody into a situation where they had to become creative. And certainly a year into my recovery, it was time to get creative. So I ended up doing a trip, again, purely by accident, because it was the only place I could really go, not get in my situation with work, put into a situation where I was going to have to uh, isolate for 14 days. And if you remember any of the early days before the vaccine and anything like that, regardless of what you believe or don't believe about any of those things, the protocol was that you were supposed to isolate for 14 days if you went to any state that was in the red for the COVID illness. So I had to look at, they used to send out, or I forget how I was able to get it, but you could go into like looking at states in your region or whatever and find out which states were not in the red. And my job was following this. So it did play a role in my life. I needed to make sure that if I did go anywhere, I had enough time left where I wasn't going to lose pay. You know, in 14 days, you're probably going to end up losing pay, right? So I looked around and it turned out that Maine was the one state close to me that uh, was not in the red at that point. So I decided to go to Maine. And what I stumbled upon in Maine was something I didn't know anything about, which was Acadia National Park. And in Acadia, there are hundreds of hiking, bike riding, horseback riding, all kinds of different activities that you can do. And certainly hiking had been on my list, and it was something I was doing a little bit of, especially since COVID had gotten going. I was starting to do more of that just locally in my own area. Uh, Hiking in Acadia was really interesting. The park really sets right on the Atlantic Ocean. So when you hike, a lot of your payoff views are over the Atlantic Ocean, which is pretty amazing to see. And it was made it even more worth it. So I came out of that with this idea of I really want to start doing a lot more hiking and getting out there into nature. And that was kind of the first step. And then from there, a lot of other things started to add on. You know, so the gym became another thing that where I really started doing it more consistent. You know, I go to the gym now and I've been doing this for the last 3+ years, where I'm going to the gym pretty much 4 to 5 days a week or somewhere in there. And then I supplement the other days with either going for a long walk, going to yoga, which is my new thing, going hiking, which sometimes I will incorporate hiking into a gym day, depending on what time I hike and how long the hike is, of course. But certainly hiking uh, will include a lot of the things that I would have done in the gym or that I might have even done at yoga. So these are some of the things that I started to do. So I basically have a routine now where I've incorporated the gym, I've incorporated running, which I do run 5Ks. So I tend to be training for a 5K, try to do one a month if I can. I've also recently, and when I say recently, probably within the last 8 to 9 months, have started to include yoga, and I'm getting very intrigued by yoga. And not only that it's a good stretch if you want to just look at it like that. To me, yoga is 100 times more than just stretching. The idea of getting into your body, understanding what your body's like, how your body works, releasing the tension that's in there. A lot of that really played a role in how I looked at my life. Understanding that this release also opened the door to healing and a lot of things that, certainly someone who's in active recovery, not active addiction, but active recovery, would be looking to do. Learn to heal these things that were broken in you or that were causing you to feel the need to supplement yourself with alcohol and numbing substance to get away from those feelings. So when we kind of get away from the alcohol, we start to look for other things that might supplement how we're feeling and helping us to work on those feelings. So what does this mean for you? How does this work for you? If you're somebody in recovery, whether it's early recovery or maybe you're just kind of on the fence about recovery, or like I said, you're coming at this from a life perspective and you're looking to maybe up your game, quote unquote, to do more activities, get out of your head a little bit, make yourself stronger, more physically fit so you can tackle the issues and problems that come up in life. And I don't really look at recovery in life as being that different. Both people, if you're going to look at it as two different people or two different groups of people, both groups are looking to create a tempo in their life. They're wanting to get better. They're wanting to move forward. They're wanting to work harder. And I think a lot of that does happen with activity. Activity helps us keep that tempo. And that's really the point that I wanted to make in all of this, is that tempo, the idea of creating tempo, happens when we can actively attack what's going on. And I heard this today, but I've heard it repeatedly. A lot of you have probably heard it, before in your life. This little saying, the best defense is a good offense. You might have heard that in sports, but it really does apply to life. I think that when we are in the midst of going through things in our lives, again, whether it's just life things, or maybe it's in a recovery based situation, when we go through these things, it's very easy to fall back and kind of get into this idea of poor me. Why is this happening to me? Everybody's coming after me. Everybody's out to get me. I never win. All these negative thoughts, right? And while we're having these negative thoughts, in a lot of cases, we're just sitting there. We're not doing anything. We're not trying to work on anything, whether it's, okay, I'm going to relieve my stress by going for a run, or I'm going to go to the gym, or I'm going to take a yoga class, or I'm going to go on a hike and get out into nature. We're not doing those things. We're not making a plan, And so this is what I wanted to share with you. So if we take the idea of tempo, creating tempo is the best way to attack a problem, because we're now actively attacking it. We're offensively attacking it. We're not playing defense. We're offensively attacking. So, if you're a sports person, you might think of it in terms of being more on my toes and leaning forward and moving forward versus sitting back on my heels, which a lot of times when we get hit with something in our lives, we tend to maybe fall back a little bit. And I think that's normal for all of us, whether you're an active person or not. We get caught up in that idea that, wow, I've just been, knocked, I took a punch. All right. And sometimes we might say, knock the wind out of me, or knock me down, or whatever. The key to that is getting back up and going on the offensive. The thing that will get us in the most trouble is when we sit back and we allow that punch to be that effective to where we can't get back up. And we can't get back up more because this thing is working overdrive, and we're in that poor me phase of, nothing ever works, blah, 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 right? So the key is to get back up and get back towards that tempo, get back on our toes, lean in. You've heard people use that term, lean in, get on your toes, lean forward, create that tempo, because if you create the tempo, things move forward. Now, you might be sitting there going, oh, okay, whatever. I don't know if I believe any of that. Think about a time in your life where things were going really well. You got it? Okay. So what were you doing that was allowing things to go well? Was it just happening to you? Did it just happen? Like you just happened to be there and these good things just started to happen? Or were you doing something to help create that? Maybe you need to go back to when you first got out of school and you were going after a job or a career. So what were you doing? You were going on the offense, right? You were getting resumes out. You were knocking on doors. You were filling out applications. You were talking to whoever you could talk to in the field of work that you wanted to get into. You were learning as much as you could learn, right? You continued to keep moving forward because you had this goal. And the goal was, I want a job in that field. I want to create a career in that field. And you kept going. You were constantly moving. You had a plan. Every day you got up, there was a plan that you followed in order to get to the end goal, which was to find a job, right? All of us have been through this idea of tempo. And all of us can probably go back and recall moments in our lives, probably many moments in our lives, where that tempo was going, where that thing was happening and it just kept moving forward and we felt good. We felt in the groove. We felt excited about what was going on. We had a plan, right? And we were following and executing that plan. That's what tempo is. So when we're trying to get back on the horse off of an addiction, or we're in a life struggle right now and we're trying to figure out what the next move is, we need to create tempo again. So now you might say, well, how do I create tempo when I don't really know what I want? It's a great question. To me, the best place to start is to create tempo in things that you can create tempo in that already exist. Okay, so going out for a walk, to start around your neighborhood. That exists. That is right there. You can put some sneakers on or some comfortable shoes, whatever it is, and you can move your legs and go for a walk, right? So that's one thing that you could do. You can get out in nature. Maybe for whatever reason you can't really walk very well or for extended periods of time. So maybe it's just about getting out into nature. So go and get out in a park, lay in the grass for a little while or just smell, the greenery. A lot of times we go into parks and there's these big flower beds and things like that, right? And we can smell the nature. We can smell nature. Put your hand on a tree, touch the tree, touch the grass, whether that's with your feet or your hands or whatever it is. Pick up a blade of grass or a leaf off a tree and put it up to your nose and smell it. Allow nature to help you rebalance. By the way, all of that is proven factually that works. That we are connected to nature. We are connected to how things work. We tend to, as a species, to act like we're just viewing nature, when in reality, we're really part of it. We're really part of it, and that's important. So start off there. Maybe you have a gym membership that you haven't been using. Go to the gym. And don't go crazy. Go in there and walk on the treadmill for 20 minutes and go home. Do that a couple of times a week, at least to start, and see what happens. Maybe you had a workout routine that you used to do. Try it again, but go lesser weight. Don't do as much. Don't try to go every day. Just start off slowly. Maybe you don't have a gym membership, but maybe you have a membership to a pool and you like to swim laps. Go do that. If you've never hiked before and you don't have a gym membership, but you like to move around and you love nature, think about going on a hike. Start off going easy. Find an easy hike to do. A great app for that is All Trails. If you've ever been out or if you've ever been a hiker or you are a hiker, you might have heard of it. It's an app that you can use anywhere in the United States, and it will allow you to find trails in your local area, and they're categorized as moderate, or easy, moderate, and hard. So if you're just getting into it and you're kind of looking for something easy, little walk around a lake or a pond or something like that, perfect. Go do that. Find that place. Maybe you already know of some places. You don't even need an app. You know of some places you could go do that. Just go for a walk in nature. Enjoy that, right? Maybe you used to run. So maybe think about going back to that kind of activity. Or maybe you did yoga at one point in time, or maybe it's something you've been interested in. Go back and look at it and maybe take a beginning class. Just try it out again. See if it is for you, or, and when I say try it out, don't go to one session and say, oh, nope, not going to work, and walk away. Maybe you didn't have the right teacher. Maybe it was the wrong time of day. Maybe it works better for you to go on a Saturday or Sunday versus during the week. Maybe a night yoga class works better for you. During the week works better for you than the weekend. You better than anybody else. So allow yourself a few times to go to these things, the gym included, a run included, a walk included, swimming included, whatever activity you're doing. Do it more than once and see how your body reacts to it. See how your overall quality of life is in time. Give yourself a week, allow yourself to see what it's all about. But that will allow you then the next step. And the next step is going to be to create a tempo. So once you are moving and working to help your body, to help your mind through activity, it will allow you to create a tempo and open your mind and open your heart to what the next step is, right? And even in coaching, when I coach a client, when I'm first getting to know them, I don't know how they tick. I don't know what they already know, what they don't know, what maybe is already in their present life that they can pull from right away. I had a client once that was into, eating healthy and was into different recipes, and was already doing a lot of different activities, but was stuck in kind of what they wanted to do with their personal life and, activity. And when I'm talking to personal life, I'm talking about friendships and making connections with people and all that, and what was the best way to go about it. And through our coaching sessions, we started to be able to see how the tempo of the activities that this person was already doing would allow them to make those decisions that they needed to make, to be able to look at the issues and the problems that they were looking at and to decide on a path. And it was beautiful to see because a lot of what this person needed was already in front of them. They were already doing it. They already had some of the pieces, but they didn't really have the pieces all together, how one piece could really complement the other piece. And through our coaching sessions, we were able to talk a lot about that and move that forward. And it was really a great opportunity for me to see how working with somebody who already has things in their repertoire that maybe they need to bring together with other things, and how that just launches them into the next step of their life. It was really, really, really cool to see that. And I enjoyed working with that person versus where I worked with another client who was very kind of stuck in what they were doing and how they were doing things, and kind of felt like they knew what they needed to know and kind of had gotten to a place where they wanted to be about the whole recovery world. And there were just so many other things that were going on in their life that seemed to be a block to what they were doing. And there just seemed to be this idea that they were comfortable in the game of kind of blaming everything else around them and not really taking a hard look at themselves. So in conversation, they would talk a little bit about, they know that they are part of the problem, that they need to work on these things, but then they would never offer, any thoughts towards that. And when we would talk about different things that they might be able to do, there was a little resistance to certain things. So, and that's fine. I mean, I get that we're all in different places. Maybe we're not ready for, in that particular case, I'm talking about recovery. Maybe we're not ready for making that change in life yet. Maybe we still need to think about it, and we're still kind of ruminating about it a little bit and not sure what we really want. And that's all okay. But even that is a journey, because we have to get to that journey of, hey, you know what this allowed me to do was realize I'm good with where I'm at. So all of that is fine. The idea, though, is that if you can attack the problem, you have a better shot of solving it for yourself. Again, solving the problem is going to be different for each of us, whatever that may mean. But if we can attack it and we can create tempo for ourselves through activities, then that will allow that flow of thought, that free flow of ideas to start to happen. I don't know about you, but when I go to the gym or if I go out on a run, my brain is kind of thinking about things, maybe subconsciously, as I'm focusing on, I really try hard to stay in the moment and not get too caught up in planning too many things when I'm working out or running or whatever I'm doing. I'm really trying to stay present and in the moment. I think that's super important because it allows my brain to relax. And when my brain relaxes, then when I kind of get done with that activity and go to the drawing board of what I need to do, whatever it is I'm focused on, there seems to be a little bit more ease to my approach. And that's the key, right? This is the key to all of it, is to create an ease to how we're going to handle what's in front of us. Again, whatever that is for each person is going to be different, but how we handle it, we need to have an ease about it. We need to have a confidence about it. And to me, a lot of that confidence, all that ease, that tempo that we create comes out of these activities that we are doing. So let's create some tempo, right? Let's get that going and let's come and talk about it. If you're somebody sitting there go, well, you know what, Eric, this all sounds great. And I love what you said, but I have no idea how to create tempo for myself. I have no idea where to start with activity. I've never done much of anything. I don't know how my body's going to react to these different things. These are all great thoughts. These are all important things to have to think through. Maybe it's going to take sitting down with somebody and really kind of looking through different activities that we can do and different, thoughts that we can have about what we're working on, that will help us to figure out what works best for you. And I'm going to encourage you, and I would work with you on, and kind of pushing you a little bit about these goals. So we would set small goals, and we would do that on a weekly basis, and just talk about, well, how are we going to get to that goal? Who's going to be, that person out there that's going to keep us honest, moving towards our goal? What are we going to put in place that's going to work to keep moving towards that goal for this week, right? So that's all that's about. So this kind of concept of tempo and using the tools to create tempo. So when we talk about tools, I've mentioned a few of them to you, but I'm going to leave you with one, and I'll get right into what is coming up for all of us come August 10th. So one tool that I think is a really good tool to use in all of this, and I think it works with activity, I think it works with recovery, I think it works with life coaching, and life in general, how we manage our lives, all right, is this idea: whenever we get stuck, whenever we are in a situation where we're not moving forward, we have to ask ourselves a tough question. There's an acronym out there called HALT, H-A.L.T, HALT. All right. And so I'm going to tell you what it all stands for. So HALT, the H is hungry, the A is angry, the L is lonely, and the T is tired. So am I hungry? Am I angry? Am I lonely? Am I tired? All right. These are things that I've used not only especially in early recovery when I was trying to stay away from a drink, and certainly in recovery in general, whenever those thoughts kind of cross my mind, I immediately go right to that. But then I also use it for my activities and my life things. So if I have a project at work and I'm getting frustrated about it and I don't really want to do it, and I'm, kind of dragging my feet about getting it done, sometimes I will stop and say, okay, what is the barrier here? Why am I struggling with getting this done? And I'll go through that HALT. Okay, am I hungry right now? Maybe if I eat, well, I feel more like I want to do something. Am I angry or frustrated over something, or just feeling off? It doesn't, we use anger as the emotion, because anger tends to be something that, is usually tied to a lot of other emotions. So, anger can be any emotion, right? It could be sadness, it could be anxiousness, it could be, it could lead us to, mostly anger leads us towards negative ideas, and negative ideas tend to slow us down, tend to keep us from doing things. So when we talk about anger, we could be angry at somebody at work or our bosses. We could be angry at our spouse. So anger is real, but what is the hidden emotion behind anger? And this is where, like, when I do this activity, I'm like, okay, am I angry about something? Maybe I'm not angry, but what is the emotion I'm feeling right now that's causing a block, that's keeping me from doing something? And I've done some work on this. So I can even go back to, does this have anything to do with my own trauma base? What has happened to me that I'm dragging into this from my childhood? And what emotion is around that is being triggered right now? That is causing me a problem.
So I will do the work on that and see if there's something there that I can figure out. And if it's not hungry, if it's not angry, then am I lonely? Am I feeling lonely in my life? Again, that could be romantic loneliness, that could be friendship loneliness, that could be loneliness of missing family, or maybe unfortunately people pass in our lives, and it could be something like that. So what is it that is in that world that is really shutting me down and keeping me from doing what I want to do? All right. Tired. Am I tired? Did I get enough sleep last night? Am I towards the end of my week and I'm just super tired because I haven't slept well, or maybe I'm getting to bed later than normal, or maybe I'm getting up earlier than I usually get up, or maybe there's just so much going on at work. Even when I get up and I feel like I have the amount of sleep I need, there's a lot of stress at work, and that's making me feel tired. So am I at an end of a week where I'm just really tired and cranky, and that's causing me to struggle to make decisions? Or it's causing me to feel like I want to give up, which is a big one, right? I mean, we could give up on everything, or anything. We could give up going to the gym. We could give up going on a hike. We could give up going to yoga. We could give up in any activity that we're doing that helps to create tempo. So that could be a big part of it. You're not getting enough sleep. One of the biggest things that they're starting to talk a lot about, when you go and you work with trainers, or you work with people in whatever area that you're in, if you're a runner and you're talking to other runners, or you're in the yoga and you're talking to people who teach yoga, if you're a hiker and you're talking to other hikers, all of these different groups will talk about rest and the importance of rest, and why that can hurt you if you don't have enough of it, and how it can help you if you do have enough of it. So remember that HALT, H-A-L-T. These are really important things that can really play a role in how are we managing our activities, which are hopefully creating tempo that will allow us to attack or go on the offense to be able to create the life that we want. So I hope that made some sense today, what we talked about. I hope that if it's something that you really feel like you need to explore more and talk more about, and you maybe think coaching could be something that you might like to do, boy, oh boy, do I have something to offer you right now. So I hope you're ready, because here it goes. On August 10th, so Saturday, August 10th, from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., I am going to offer a free Zoom session to anybody who's interested in coming to it. All right. So the way that you have to go about this is you have two choices. Well, let me tell you, before I give you the two choices of how you get to it, here's what's going to happen. In that Zoom session, there will be an introduction of myself. Also, there will be a reason why the discount is 55%, which is pretty high, right? Well, there's a reason for that, and I will explain that at the Zoom session, but only at the Zoom session. So all of you that are out there in cyberspace listening to this or watching this and really want to know but aren't sure you want to come to the Zoom session, well, listen, the only way you're going to know about it is if you come to the Zoom session. So come to the Zoom session, and I will tell you why the discount, if you sign up out of that Zoom session, is 55%. I will explain that to you. All right. So I'm going to talk about and introduce myself and give a little bit of my background. I'm going to talk about this 55% and where that came from and how that's going to affect you in your first package deal. We're going to talk about coaching and how coaching works and what I incorporate. What are the coaching areas that I have, and how do I incorporate mindfulness and meditation into that. I'm also going to give a little bit of a teaser on some other things that might be coming down the pike for my coaching, some other areas I might try to start doing some coaching in down the road. Nothing's happening really that soon, so it'll just be a discussion. There will also be time for question and answer. So certainly I want to answer any questions that you might have. And then we're going to talk about that 55% that you can get, and how quickly you can get that and set yourself up for pretty cool minimal amount of money that you need to spend to have 6 sessions with me and see where you're at. And hopefully you might want to go from there. Certainly the price will change, but we'll kind of, get
to that and manage through that if we get to that point. But certainly this beginning stage is really an opportunity for you to not only get to know about coaching, but maybe even experience coaching for a really low price. All right. So we will talk more about that. So some of the ways that you can get to me in order to do that are to go to my website, right, which you can on right there sign up for it and give me your name. And what I'm going to need is your name and your email address, because I'm going to send you the Zoom link to your email address. You can do that right on my website. And my website is ericandrewcoaching.com. That's ericandrewcoaching.com. And if you go to what I'm offering, the sessions that I'm offering, if you go to the second page, it will tell you all about this special. All right. So you're going to want to sign up for it underneath that special. There's a little button you can click and it'll take you right to the contact part, and you'll be able to give me your name, give me your email address, and then I can send you out the Zoom link for August 10th. Okay. The other way that you can do this is simply off of here, just send me an email to my email address, which is ericandrewcoaching12.gmail.com. All right. That's ericandrewcoaching12 at gmail.com. Sorry, at gmail.com. I'll be all right. So ericandrewcoaching12 at gmail.com or ericandrewcoaching.com, which is my website. Those are the two ways that you can get to me and get involved in that Zoom meeting, which will give you a lot more about, and we'll go in a little bit more depth than what I'm going to do on here at this point, at least. Okay. So if you have any questions or anything, please email me any questions, and you can do that again at ericandrewcoaching12 at gmail.com. And you'll be able to let me know what your question might be. And I'm more than happy to answer any questions. So please send that out. Again, this will be August. And I'm announcing this not only here, but I'm going to be announcing it on my social media as well. So it's going to be out in the ether, and I'm expecting a lot of people to jump on it. So I would highly encourage you to get on it as quickly as possible so you don't lose out. I am going to cap it. I'm not quite sure yet where I'm going to cap it at, but there's a limit amount that I'm going to allow into the first session because I kind of want to see how it's going to work. Okay. So again, if you have any questions, feel free to email me or go to my website, and you can go to the contact me section and you can send me an email that way as well, asking any question you might have, and I'll get back to you as quickly as I possibly can and let you know what you need to think about. All right. Also, I will leave this information in the little notes underneath here, so you'll be able to get to all that information in terms of how you can contact me, and we will go for there. I will also put in HALT, so you can remember that little acronym that I gave you that can help you with your activities and with your tempos that hopefully you are working on in your own lives. I really, truly believe in that idea of tempo, that idea of activity and getting in touch with nature and all of that. And I really hope that maybe, if nothing else, that this kind of got your palate a little bit watery, right? Got your taste buds flowing a little bit for this idea of, oh yeah, activity and me getting more activity in my life might be a really good thing. All right. Well, we are at the end of this session. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening, and I appreciate all of you. Please, please, please take advantage of this session that I'm offering on August 10th. I would love to see you there, and I'd love to be able to chat with you and talk with you and see where you're at and what you might be thinking about in terms of coaching and maybe how that can play a role in your life. Otherwise, have a great next couple of weeks. I will see you 2 weeks from now, and I will again mention about the coaching sessions at that point. All right. So take care, everybody. I'll talk to you soon.